Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So let's get into this video because I just got off an amazing session with one of my clients who's been working with me for 2 months. She's had such amazing strides in her awareness that she is the source, and I really want to share something that really helped me think about a lot of other things as well. Because listen, when I coach you guys to, I'm learning and I'm having revelations as well. So I want to share with you something that she said that I know is going to help someone. So in this video, I really want to talk about how to work with your 3D circumstances, because to me, you really only have one option when you're finding something in your reality that is not favorable. When you find yourself in an unfavorable circumstance, to me, you really only have one choice. All right, so we're going to get into it. But this client, she has had a lot of changes over the past few years, and she is now remembering that she is the source. And one of the things that she really wants to manifest is her specific person back into her life, but she was still looking through the old lens of who she was. Now, there's something that she said that really made me think about a lot, and what she said was, I thought that I couldn't be happy because I thought that if I didn't have all the pieces that I wanted ideally, or when I felt like I lost something, I felt like I couldn't be happy. But I was only looking from one version of myself, not me as a whole. And this is what we've been talking about lately, as I tell you guys all the time that I am is inclusive. Every reality is inclusive. So when you feel like you have to fight against a reality or change a version of yourself, instead of allowing that to be there and moving over to the version that you prefer, you are keeping yourself in a loop in that old identity, in a reality that you no longer prefer. So something that really helped me to understand this was this passage, and it really is what I talk about a lot on here, and it comes from the book Parallel Realities by Frederick E. Dodson. I will put his name and I'll put this passage up on the screen so we can read it together. But it says, you do not have to give up anything to become more of who you are. Some suspect that the new minus the old is the real you, but actually it's the old plus the new that equals the full you. Everything is within you. There is no external. Refusing something that you are already experiencing means refusing yourself. This does not mean you have to go through every negatively labeled reality imaginable, but if you are already experiencing it, then dive in and experience what you created for the very purpose of experiencing it. Experience it eagerly and willingly, and it will turn into what you prefer. What you put attention on, you include into your vibratory field. What you try to remove from your vibratory field, you also include. That's why it's impossible to get rid of something. The moment you say, I exclude this, you are including it. Stop fighting problems. Either dive into them or start loving what you prefer instead. And I love that so much, because honestly, when you are facing an unfavorable circumstance, there's really only one decision that you have, and it's to make it a part of your unfolding, to see it as a part of your unfolding. And when you include it instead of refusing it or trying to change it, you welcome it into the quantum possibilities. And what I like about this is because when we think about the law of polarity, there's a version of you with your specific person or your manifestation, you having it. And on the other side of that spectrum is that version of you that does not have it. But also in between, from this pole to the next, are so many other lifelines, realities. One where you're situationship with your specific person, one where you're just friends, one where there's hot and cold behavior. And sometimes you'll move through some of these other realities as well. But the thing is, you don't hold on to any reality or any unfavorable circumstance from the point of you trying to fix something. It's knowing that source is inclusive in all realities and unconditional in all realities. And it's the fact that we forget that we're at the center of all of these realities. When we step down from realizing that we are the source, that is when we perceive that we're losing our awareness or losing something or separating ourselves and feel separate from what it is that we desire. And so when we step down and we become that little 3D us, we feel that we have to fix something, or we feel that something is wrong, when everything is neutral and everything is welcome into the source. But when you realize that you are the source, everything and every moment is a moment for you to realize more of who you are. And the more you realize who you are, the more you realize your manifestations. You actualize them, you self-actualize them by looking through the lens as source. All right. So one of the things that I really want to share with you guys too, when it comes to dealing with your 3D circumstances, and that really is practicing non-reaction. And it really is a practice. And the one thing that has helped me to dissolve any unfavorable circumstances is to not vent about something that I find unfavorable, especially when it comes to a specific person. Because you know, when you be talking with your friends, sometimes you're like, oh, he said this, oh, he said that, oh, I can't stand him. Like, you know, when you constantly are venting and talking about it, speaking to it, you're giving that life, you're still including it, okay? But practicing non-reaction is really when you are just allowing all things to exist, welcoming all of it by knowing that you're the source, and that at the end of the day, when you look at it from that neutral perspective, you have the power to change and to look through the lens that you prefer. And just like Lester Levinson says, that there's nothing that you can do about being the all, you can only look away from it. So when there's a relationship that you perceive that you've lost, or any loss, which there is no loss in the mind of the divine or the all, then it's because you've just stepped down and you've got so involved in feeling like you have to defend a version of yourself, or defend yourself to a circumstance, or to prove something. You've stepped down from your source power. Okay, so working with your 3D circumstances is allowing all possible realities to exist and still deciding to choose what you prefer. And it really is, it feels hard when we're so emotionally attached, but also too, when you are experiencing something that's unfavorable. I also often think about what Neville says when he says, you give beauty for ashes. So I'm going to read this passage, and it says, you give beauty for ashes when you concentrate your attention on things as you would like them to be, rather than on things as they are. You give joy for mourning when you maintain a joyous attitude regardless of unfavorable circumstances. You give praise for the spirit of heaviness when you maintain a confident attitude instead of succumbing to despondency. And then there's a scripture in Isaiah that says the same thing, and it's Isaiah 61:3, and it says, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. And what I like about that is it's really taking on the embodiment of source, that right thinking, that righteousness is that right thinking, that sturdiness in you being the source. When you realize that you are the source and that there is only one, and you just choose the lens that you want to look through, you realize that, like I said, it all has the right to exist, and you're no longer defending or trying to hold on to any ideal reality as well, any of your favorable circumstances, because the only thing that you're holding on to is knowing that you're the source, and then allowing all else to exist. Because things don't change when you're constantly looking at it and fighting at it. It holds its place, it holds its vibration. But when you turn away from it, it goes back into the quantum field. So you have to see things the way that they are, but also too, you're not running from anything that's already collapsed and appearing. You're going to see it the way that you want to see it, but you're also not fighting or defending a version of you as you exist in every other reality, you guys. Every reality that you can perceive, you exist in. All right, so it's about you clinging to nothing outside of here, but remembering that you're the source. And once my client realized that she didn't have to have, she was still looking through that one version of herself, the one that was disappointed, the one that nothing was going right. And she was trying to fix that version of herself instead of realizing that she existed in all realities, all possibilities. It takes the pressure off of yourself. Takes the pressure off of yourself. And by you practicing non-reaction, because let me tell you guys, 3D circumstances look weird as they're collapsing into your ideal. Like, it looks weird. There's things that show up and pop up that sometimes we're like, what is going on? But the thing is, you're not paying attention to any of that. You're not paying attention to any of that. You're only paying attention to the source. And it unfolds rapidly through you. I can't tell you how many times that when I came back to realizing that all of this can exist, and I only need me, I only need the awareness that I'm the source, how instantly my manifestations collapse. And this is with money, specific people, business, homes, cars, all of these things that I tell you guys, they're all within you. There is nothing outside of you. This external is only a reflection of your internal. And sometimes you're going to see things in your reality that are just existing. And it's just you're moving through them. You're moving through them. But you don't have to fight for versions of yourself that you no longer prefer. You choose what you prefer by practicing non-reaction. And another good thing that helps too is pattern interruption. So for me, pattern interruption looks like if I find myself in my head so much so that I'm not allowing myself to be present in my body, then when I find myself being in my head so much, I immediately will catch myself and I'll do something like sing a song out loud, stand up, do some jumping jacks, or spin around 5 times. But pattern interruption, you have to interrupt that storyline as much as you can as you're passing through. All right, so pattern interruption helps practicing non-reaction, which is not venting or expressing because you're continuously giving life to a circumstance that you no longer prefer. But when you take your attention off of all things, everything becomes neutral. You put it all on yourself. And like I tell you guys all the time, without fail, the 3D forms around you, not you looking out here thinking, okay, I see this, so how should I adjust myself to be in the 3D? It's not that. You are the only deciding factor. By yourself, this little 3D you, it's hard for you to feel and perceive anything. But when you're one with source, all things are possible. All right, but this is about being still and knowing that you are the source. All right, there's nothing to figure out. There's only a choice to make. Okay, so I love you guys so much. If you would like coaching with me, it's down in the description box below, and I'll tag it in the comments as well. Make sure you follow our Discord because we want to grow that community, and you have other like-minded individuals as well giving support as well. All right, so you guys, once again, I love you. Remember, imagination is always on your side, and I'm too. Bye.